Well, hello, Northwest. It is, golly, what is it? It's Tuesday, April 7th. And we've got just Tuesday and Wednesday left. As you know, Thursday is going to be a teacher workday. And Friday, of course, is a holiday for all of us that are Jewish or Christian, and is just a holiday in general, according to the CMS calendar. And then it's spring break. So we are at chapter basically 12.5 of Percy Jackson. And as you will recall, our heroes, Annabeth and Percy, washed up on the shore of a beautiful resort, which of course was very suspicious. And she offered Percy, a beautiful woman named seaCh, offered Percy a potion. And his mind was getting a little fuddled with, because we know that if a beautiful woman offers you a potion, or a beautiful man, you say no. But Percy didn't. And so Percy was turned into a guinea pig. So that's where we're at right now. That is the sound of the Coke Zero, which again, as we say, don't drink it. She held me up to the mirror, and what I saw made me scream in terror. Read, read, read! There was seaCh, beautiful and smiling, holding a fluffy, buck-toothed creature with tiny claws and white and orange fur. When I twisted, so did the furry critter in the mirror. I was a guinea pig, seaCh said. Lovely, aren't you? Men are pigs, Percy Jackson. I used to turn them into real pigs, but they were so smelly and large and difficult to keep. Not much different than they were before, really. Guinea pigs are much more convenient. Now come and meet the other men. Wait! I protested, trying to scratch her, but seaCh squeezed me so tight I almost blacked out. None of that, little one, she scolded, or I'll feed you to the owls. Go into the cage like a good little pet. Tomorrow, if you behave, you'll be on your way. There is always a classroom in need of a new guinea pig. My mind was racing as fast as my tiny little heart. I needed to get back to my clothes, which were lying in a heap on the floor. If I could do that, I could get riptide out of my pocket. And what? I couldn't uncap the pen. Even if I did, I couldn't hold the sword. I squirmed helplessly as seaCh brought me over to the guinea pig cage and opened the wire door. Meet my discipline problems, Percy, she warned. They'll never make good classroom pets, but they might teach you some manners. Most of them have been in this cage for 300 years. If you don't want to stay with them permanently, I suggest you, Annabeth's voice called. Miss seaCh? seaCh cursed in ancient Greek. She plopped me onto the cage and closed the door. I squealed and clawed at the bars, but it did no good. I watched as seaCh hurriedly kicked my clothes under the loom just as Annabeth came in. I almost didn't recognize her. She was wearing a sleeveless silk dress like seaCh's, only white. Her blonde hair was newly washed and combed and braided with gold. Worst of all, she was wearing makeup. And I never thought Annabeth would be caught dead in that. I mean, she looked good. Really good. I probably would have been tongue-tied if I could have said anything. Except reet, reet, reet. But there was also something totally wrong about it. It just wasn't Annabeth. She looked around the room and frowned. Where's Percy? I squealed up a storm, but she didn't seem to hear me. seaCh smiled. He's having one of our treatments, my dear. Not to worry. You look wonderful. What did you think of your tour? Annabeth's eyes brightened. Your library is amazing. Yes, indeed, seaCh said. The best knowledge of the past 3 centuries. Anything you want to study, anything you want to be, my dear. An architect? Ha, seaCh said. You, my dear, have the makings of a sorceress, like me. Annabeth took a step back. A sorceress? Yes, my dear. seaCh held up her hand. A flame appeared in her palm and danced across her fingertips. My mother is Hecate, the goddess of magic. I know a daughter of Athena when I see one. We are not so different, you and I. We both seek knowledge. We both admire greatness. Neither of us needs to stand in the shadow of men. I don't understand. Again, I squealed my best, trying to get Annabeth's attention, but she either couldn't hear me or didn't think the noises were that important. Meanwhile, the other guinea pigs were emerging from their hutch to check me out. I didn't think it was possible for guinea pigs to look mean, but these did. There were half a dozen with dirty fur and cracked teeth and beady red eyes. They were covered with shavings and smelled like they really had been in here for 300 years without getting their cages cleaned. Stay with me, CC was telling Annabeth. Study with me. You can join our staff, become a sorceress, learn to bend others to your will. You will become immortal. But you are too intelligent, my dear, CC said. You know better than to trust that silly camp for heroes. How many great female half-blood heroes can you name? Atalanta, Amelia Earhart. Bah! Men get all the glory. CC closed her fist and extinguished the magic flame. The only way to power for women is sorcery. Medea, Calypso, now those were powerful women. And me, of course, the greatest of all. You, CC. Circe! Yes, my dear. Annabeth backed up and Circe laughed. You need not worry. I mean you no harm. What have you done to Percy? Only helped him realize his true form. Annabeth scanned the room. Finally, she saw the cage and me scratching at the bars. All the other guinea pigs crowded around me. Her eyes went wide. Forget him, Circe said. Join me and learn the way of sorcery. But your friend will be well cared for. He'll be shipped to a wonderful new home on the mainland. The kindergartners will adore him. Meanwhile, you will be wise and powerful. You will have all you ever wanted. Annabeth was still staring at me, but she had a dreamy expression on her face. She looked the same way I had when Circe enchanted me into drinking the guinea pig milkshake. I squealed and scratched, trying to warn her to snap out of it, but I was absolutely powerless. Let me think about it, Annabeth murmured. Just give me a moment alone to say goodbye. Of course, my dear, Circe cooed. 1 minute. Oh, and so you have absolute privacy. She waved her hands and iron bars slammed down over the windows. She swept out of the room and I heard the locks on the door click shut behind her. The dreamy look melted off Annabeth's face. She rushed over to my cage. All right, which one is you? I squealed, but so did all the other guinea pigs. Annabeth looked desperate. She scanned the room and spotted the cuff of my jeans sticking out from under the loom. Yes! She reached over and rummaged through my pockets. But instead of bringing out Riptide, she found the bottle of Hermes multivitamins and started struggling with the cap. I wanted to scream at her that now wasn't the time for taking supplements. She had to draw the sword. She popped a lemon chewable in her mouth just as the door flew open, and Circe came in, flanked by 2 of her business-suited attendants. Well, Circe sighed, how fast a minute passes. What is your answer, my dear? This, Annabeth said, and she drew her bronze knife. The sorceress stepped back, but her surprise quickly passed. She sneered. Really, little girl? A knife against my magic? Is that wise? Circe looked back at her attendants, who smiled. They raised their hands as if preparing to cast a spell. Run! I wanted to tell Annabeth, but all I could make were rodent noises. The other guinea pigs squealed in terror and scuttled around the cages. I had the urge to panic and hide, too, but I had to think of something. I couldn't stand to lose Annabeth the way I'd lost Tyson. What will Annabeth's makeover be? Circe mused. Something small and ill-tempered? I know. A shrew. Blue fire quilts around Annabeth. I watched, horror-struck, but nothing happened. Annabeth was still Annabeth, only angrier. She leaped forward and stuck the point of her knife against Circe's neck. How about turning me into a panther instead, one that has its claws at your throat? How? Circe yelped. Annabeth held up my bottle of vitamins for the sorceress to see. Curse Hermes and his multivitamins. They are such a fad. They do nothing for you. Turn Percy back to a human or else, Annabeth said. I can't. Then you asked for it. Circe's attendants stepped forward, but their mistress said, Get back. She's immune to magic until that cursed vitamin wears off. Annabeth dragged Circe over to the guinea pig cage, knocked the top off, and poured the rest of the vitamins inside. No! Circe screamed. I was the first to get a vitamin, but all the other guinea pigs scuttled out too and checked out this new food. The first nibble, and I felt all fiery inside. I gnawed at the vitamin until it stopped looking so huge, and the cage got smaller, and then suddenly, bang! The cage exploded, and I was sitting on the floor, a human again, somehow back in my regular clothes, thank the gods, and 6 other guys were all looking disoriented and shaking wood shavings out of their hair. No, she screamed. You don't understand. Those are the worst. One of the men stood up. A huge guy with a long tangled pitch black beard and teeth the same color. He wore mismatched clothes of wool and leather, knee-length boots, and a floppy felt hat. The other men were dressed more simply, in breeches and stained white shirts. All of them were barefoot. "Arr!" bellowed the big man. "What's the witch done to me?" "No!" Circe moaned. Annabeth gasped. "I recognize you. Edward Teach, son of Ares." "Aye, lass," the big man growled. "Thou most call me Blackbeard. And there's the sorceress which captured us, lads. Run her through, and then I mean to find me a big bowl of celery. Arg!" Circe screamed. She and her attendants ran from the room, chased by the pirates. Annabeth sheathed her knife and glared at me. "Thanks," I faltered. "I'm really sorry," before I could figure out how to apologize for being such an idiot. She tackled me with a hug and then pulled away just as quickly. "I'm glad you're not a guinea pig." "Me too," I said. I hope my face wasn't as red as it felt. She undid the golden braids in her hair. "Come on, seaweed brain. We have to get out of here while Circe's distracted." We ran down the hillside through the terraces, past screaming spa workers and pirates ransacking the resort. Blackbeard's men broke the tiki torches for the luau, threw herbal wraps onto the swimming pool, and kicked over tables of sauna towels. I almost felt bad letting the unduly pirates out, but I guess they deserve something more entertaining than the exercise wheel after being cooped up in a cage for those centuries. "Which ship?" Annabeth said as we reached the docks. I looked around desperately. We couldn't very well take a rowboat. We had to get off the island fast, but what else could we use? A sub? A fighter jet? I couldn't pilot any of those things. And then I saw it. "There," I said. Annabeth blinked. "But I can make it work." "How?" I couldn't explain. I just somehow knew an old sailing vessel was the best bet for me. I grabbed Annabeth's hand and pulled her towards the three-mast ship. Painted on its prow was a name I would only decipher later. Queen Anne's Revenge. "Arr!" Blackbeard yelled somewhere behind us. "Those scallywags are aboarding me vessel! Get 'em, lads!" "We'll never get going in time," Annabeth yelled as we climbed aboard. I looked around at the hopeless maze of sail and ropes. The ship was in great condition for a 300-year-old vessel, but it would still take a crew of 50 several hours to get underway. We didn't have several hours. I could see the pirates running down the stairs, waving tiki torches and sticks of celery. I closed my eyes and concentrated on the waves lapping against the hull, the ocean currents, the winds all around me. Suddenly the right word appeared in my mind. "Mizzenmast!" I yelled. Annabeth looked at me like I was nuts. But in the next second, the air was filled with whistling sounds of ropes being snapped taut, canvases unfurling, and wooden pulleys creaking. Annabeth ducked as a cable flew over her head and wrapped itself around the bowsprit. "Percy! How?" I didn't have an answer, but I could feel the ship responding to me as if it was part of my body. I willed the sails to rise as easily as if I was flexing my arm. I willed the rudder to rise. The Queen Anne's Revenge lurched away from the dock, and by the time the pirates arrived at the water's edge, we were already underway, sailing into the sea of monsters. Okay, and that finishes chapter 12. Tomorrow we're going to read chapter 1-3. Annabeth tries to swim home. I hope everybody's well. They're doing their canvas work, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.